Let me first of all thank everyone with Trellis for inviting me to participate in your 45th anniversary. It is always good to celebrate milestones, and you certainly should be commended for the work that you are doing when it comes to the issue of home ownership. So allow me to get right into my arguments, my speech. That if I chose to tag, as it would say in church, tag this text, I shall title this freedom. I shall title this to be freedom. In 2000, I was covering the Democratic National Convention. While covering the Democratic National Convention in Los Angeles on the night that Al Gore accepted the nomination for president, I was in intense pain. My right side was hurting. I could barely walk. Literally, I was moving at a snail's pace. Next day in the hospital, my appendix had ruptured. It had perforated. Spent 5 days in the hospital, no health insurance. The following year, the second year, the third year, constant emails, phone calls to pay the $70,000, $80,000 in healthcare cost. I then was talking to a former colleague about the idea of bankruptcy. Eventually filed in 2004. What precipitated the bankruptcy was getting a home foreclosure notice. Here I was scraping and scrambling, trying to pay the debt, and was difficult. And I get this notice, they're going to foreclose on the home. Here is a home that I had purchased signed in December of 1999, coming out of a divorce. Here I am in 2004 on the verge of losing this home. When the bankruptcy lawyer told me, at the moment I file bankruptcy, all of the phone calls and emails cease. They cannot contact me. I said, let's go. I was going to discharge all debts. I end up getting a job at the Chicago Defender, paying me $110,000. Bankruptcy court says you have to pay all the debts off, not a problem. I was like, whatever. Fast forward to 2008, I make my final bankruptcy payment. Bankruptcy discharged. I had overpaid taxes in 2008, 2009. I got a $25,000 return. I tell my financial advisor, I'm going to use this to pay off or to pay off the house. She didn't like the idea, and I said, look, somebody like me talk way too much trash on television to ever be homeless. So I send the $25,000, pay it down. I then send another $25,000 or whatever. Eventually got to the point where I paid the house off. Freedom. I was going down a path of economic freedom. Coming out of the bankruptcy, forget credit cards, forget that stuff. I'm not trying to have debt. freedom. My parents decided to retire early. My dad worked for Amtrak for more than 25 years. He calculated how much he was making working for the city of Houston Health Department. And finally, it was like, why don't I just go ahead and just retire and take my railroad retirement early? They were living in a very small apartment, one bedroom in Houston. And my parents said, well, we need to find us, a smaller apartment that's cheaper. I'm like, what the hell? It's going to be smaller. Had a living room, a kitchen, a little dining area, bathroom, bedroom. I said, y'all can go live in my house in Dallas rent free. My dad said, damn, that's a good idea, rent free. He said, look, I take care of the house. My dad's a clean freak. And so 2 months later, they were packed up, gone. They've now been living in my home in Dallas, the Dallas area, for I think this now 11 years. My sister, who had come to live with us with her 2 children, was living there already with one of her daughters. So today there are 3 generations of Martins living in one house that I was on the verge of losing through bankruptcy in 2004. So here we now sit 17 years later, and that very home is providing a base for 3 generations of Martins. That's the power of home ownership. My parents, my sister, and my niece are living in a 4-bedroom, 2,500 square foot corner lot house, not having to pay rent, which means that owning the home is having a direct impact on the finances of my family members. I get text messages every day that want to sell the home. They want to sell the home. Nope, stop calling me. Nope, stop calling me. A house that I bought for $122,000 in December of 1999 is now valued upwards of $200,000 by the Dallas County Appraisal District. So here I have an asset that I could sell, but I'm choosing not to sell because it is providing a home for 3 generations of my family. That is important because as our parents get older, my parents will be 74. Dad will be 74 next month. Mom 74 in November. We end up taking care of our parents, taking them in. The situation that I have is that I don't have to. Still able-bodied, sisters there, nieces there, with my parents. See, what we have to do is we have to redefine this idea in our families, in our community, about what it means to own. We've got to start changing the paradigm of just renting, handing somebody else money who then is taking that money and doing whatever they want with it. And then after a period of time, we walk away and we don't own anything. Now, let me be real clear. There are other times we can make strategic decisions as to why we should rent, why we should lease, depending upon what the financial condition of our lives are. But what I am trying to lay out to folks is that too many of us must reprogram our views, reprogram our mind when it comes to this very issue. Because we are expending and putting a tremendous amount of energy in trying to have this fashionable purse, these athletic shoes, in this car, as opposed to being able to have this asset that can serve multiple purposes for our families. How it can redefine the economic condition of our families and impact more than one generation. That means that what we have to do, we have to get back into a state of mind that home ownership equates to black freedom or freedom from anybody. I sat down and I was like, wait a minute. I'm spending, because of high interest rate, I'm spending $1,400 a month on a mortgage. Yet the property taxes where I am at the time, $3,000. Calculator. Now wait a minute. I'm spending $1,300 a month times 12. So I'm handing $15,600 a year. But let's just say the property taxes were $4,000 divided by 12. I'm only spending $333 per month. So what I said is, well, wait a minute. If I pay this house off and I own it outright, the older that I get and I am living in the home, that means that I don't have the pressure anymore of trying to meet a $1,300 a month mortgage. I can find me something, or using retirement funds, investment funds, to only pay $333 a month for property taxes. Smart decision. That is the type of thinking that is required for us to change our community. And because of the assets that I have been able to build and develop, truth be told, I don't need the money from the sale of the home right now. I could literally gift that home to my sister or my niece, and so now they have an asset that I could gift the asset to my niece. who's 21, who in a decade could turn around and sell the asset, and now she will have at least $200,000 to be able to put into her savings or for her to be able to invest. So 30 years, 40 years later, when it's time for her to retire, she has assets. The work that you are doing is vital because it means freedom. It means breaking these invisible shackles. It means getting our people out of a different state of mind and getting them to look at ownership in a totally different way. Far too many of us are living and operating and going through life, and all we are employees. All we are renters. All we are just doing the same thing, and what we are doing is making other people rich and successful. We are paying them significant amounts of money, sometimes likely far more than the property is even worth, and all they're doing is building their nest egg, building their family wealth on the backs of our rent checks. But just the simple ownership of a home now can change the destiny of 3 generations at one time. And so I believe that what we have to do is change our language about home ownership. I think the marketing and, oh, no, it's important to own a home. No. Imagine, Trellis, if you said, we're going to create a freedom campaign. In the song Glory, won the Oscar, John Legend, Common. Common says in the song, freedom is like a religion to us. We always talk about social justice and criminal justice. We always talk about civil rights and freedom and equality, but what I'm talking about is the freedom of peace of mind, the economic freedom, the freedom to be able to make choices that will benefit your family and your children's children. Home ownership is a legacy of freedom. By owning the home, I have the freedom to move and operate in a completely different way. I'm not under the pressure. Oh, I've got it. Oh my, what am I going to do? Owning allows for me to be able to say, yeah, we're going to do this. Yeah, I can walk away from this job because I already own it. So therefore, the pressure is not on me to pay the mortgage. Freedom. If we redefine what home ownership is, if we properly message to our people that home ownership is freedom, I believe we will see a revolution in our thinking. And I believe for the first time in American history, we can get black home ownership from 42 to 45 to 48 to 50 to 55 to 60. I believe we can put it on par with white America if we redefine what home ownership is. Owning a home is freedom. And there's nobody I know, black, white, Latino, Asian, Native American, who's not trying to be free. Congratulations on your 45th anniversary. And 45 years from now, I hope you won't be serving 100 people a year. I hope you'll be serving 100,000 people a year. I hope you will be in a position where countless families will go back and say, my God, thank you so much that I was able to go through their programs, to go through their financial classes, to go through the process, because that organization allowed my family to experience freedom, economic freedom in this country for the first time. Thank you so very much. Enjoy your anniversary.